What's up, cool people? My name's Matt, aka That Random Christian Gamer. Welcome to today's live stream. So, we are continuing our Bible study through the book of Job, getting close to the end of it. There's only 4 chapters left in the whole book of the Bible, and we're doing the 4th and 3rd from last, if that makes sense. Anyway, it's also going to shift gears a little bit between chapters 37 and 38, so could be an interesting change of dynamic there. But after the Bible study, I will be continuing Hogwarts Legacy, mostly focusing on the main story there, possibly getting on a couple little side missions, depending on how things go. But the main thing story-wise is that I guess we're prepping to go into the restricted section of the Hogwarts library, but it seems we need to learn some other spells or something in order to be better prepared for that. Not sure what spells or why, but I'm sure that will become apparent when that all happens. So, there's the general gist of what's going on today and what to expect. Yeah. Little side note, but, related to my current schedule and things like that. In order to just keep up with the same output that I've been having, because, I don't just stream this stuff, I also then, take sections of it, edit it down, and make it into smaller pieces that other people might be more inclined to view, because some people don't like long live stream type formats. In order to keep up with that, I've been doing my edits, while eating meals, mostly dinners, each day. And honestly, even when I don't have mandatory overtime at work, I might just continue doing that because then I might actually stand a chance at getting ahead of my schedule a bit further, and or B, doing some of the side video projects I had in mind that I used to occasionally do, but haven't lately because of how busy I've been. And or C, actually have more time for other things. But, yeah, I had thought about it before this whole mandatory overtime thing happened, and now that I'm doing that and realizing that the editing during meals in and of itself does not feel as draining on me as I thought it might after my long days of work. Yeah, that might be the new personal pattern moving forward. But anyway, okay, enough about all that. I'm gonna go ahead and run the early set of Twitch ads, and then we'll start the Bible study. So, Twitch folks, I'll see y'all in a little bit. Okay. Gonna go ahead and get that ready to go. Might need to bring down the audio for the music just a little bit. I usually have it. See, the problem is some of the songs I have in the playlist are quieter than others. And so, the loud ones can still be heard fairly easily, even at my normal volume setting. But the quieter ones, it's those are barely audible then. So, I don't know. Whatever. Anyway. Hope everybody's doing well today. I Yeah. I did have some groups that I met with the past couple of Fridays, just like kind of hang out and play some board games kind of groups. So that's been fun, but that's only lasting kind of through the summer. So we'll see what all happens after that. All right. Ad break should be done. So I think we're about ready to hop into the Bible study now. So we are now looking at Job chapter 37. And for context, Job was a guy who was doing well, had a good life, both like from a financial standpoint and just like as far as being a good man. In fact, his life was so good that God pointed him out to a being in heaven known as Satan, or the accuser, or the adversary, or something like that. So of course, Satan goes, well, test him a bit. You've given him a pretty cushy life so far. Test him a bit. See if he still worships you and all that. So Job gets tested, and then, like, in that he loses basically everything he has, or at least a lot of it, and gets physically afflicted with boils, and there's more that happens, but, like, it's a multifaceted testing, for sure. So then, people around him all seem to assume that he must have sinned in some way to be punished by God like this. But there's a big argument that goes back and forth. Job maintaining that he's innocent, despite everybody else around him trying to convince him to think about it in a different way, or, like, tell him basically every single possible viewpoint that could say, no, God doesn't just do this to people randomly. But, like, what's generally true that they're talking about isn't true in Job's case, essentially. But they're not convinced, and he's not convinced. The past few chapters, this guy Elihu has been building his case against Job, in a way kind of saying a lot of the things that had been said before, how, God doesn't sin, God is just, God is righteous, God is powerful, and, wicked people, if they prosper, only do so for a little while, and if you truly are righteous, Job, it's still okay to admit that you sinned, because, one slip up here and there doesn't make you a person who is, not righteous or not committed to God. You just gotta wait it out then, and God will bring you back to your right standing. But, yeah, so we're continuing with Elihu's speech here in this chapter. I guess that's pretty much it for context that I would consider to be generally important. If something else more specific comes up that's relevant to what he says here, then I'll let you know if I remember it. But anyway, alrighty. Here we go. Job chapter 37. This is, of course, still Elihu speaking. My heart pounds as I think of this. It trembles within me. Listen carefully to the thunder of God's voice as it rolls from his mouth. It rolls across the heavens, and his lightning flashes in every direction. Then comes the roaring of the thunder, the tremendous voice of his majesty. He does not restrain it when he speaks. God's voice is glorious in the thunder. We can't even imagine the greatness of his power. Okay, so towards the tail end of the previous chapter, Elihu had been talking about thunderstorms and how the rain provides nourishment for crops and basically helps, people stay alive because of the food that's produced with the help of the rain, but also the lightning and the thunder that come with it kind of demonstrate God's power. The lightning in a way because of the damage it can deal, but the thunder just because of how like big and booming and all that it is. So I guess he was kind of continuing with that thought in these first few verses here, focusing on the thunder and whatnot. I mean, this is under the same header as the previous thing, so he's still just kind of generally talking about God's power. Yeah, that was the previous header there. I don't really know if there's too much else I feel like needs to be said for those first few verses. Other than, I guess, verse 1 here, like, even Elihu just talking about how powerful God is, like, kind of, I mean, based on that wording, it seems to strike a little bit of fear, for lack of a better way to put it, within him. Just realizing how powerful that God is. Because really that means that, there's so much that God could do like that, and we would be helpless if God weren't the one trying to help us. Okay, moving on to verse 6. He directs the snow to fall on the earth and tells the rain to pour down. Then everyone stops working so they can watch his power. The wild animals take cover and stay inside their dens. The stormy wind comes from its chamber, and the driving winds bring the cold. God's breath sends the ice, freezing wide expanses of water. He loads the clouds with moisture, and they flash with his lightning. The clouds churn about at his direction. They do whatever he commands throughout the earth. He makes these things happen either to punish people or to show his unfailing love. Interesting how he talks about, like, that stuff on its own being a way that God brings his judgment upon people to some effect. Like, there have been stories even up to this point in the Bible where, there has been famine and, other, even just straight up natural disasters, essentially, that often seem to come when people aren't real close with God. But then, when they cry out to God and it's clear that they need help, then, either for that reason or specifically in a moment that'll demonstrate his power, like with, say, Elijah going up against false prophets and things like that. Like, God might just demonstrate his power, because in that case there had been a drought for years, and then Elijah takes on this challenge. God demonstrates his power by sending fire upon an altar. And I think it was after that then that God decided, okay, my power has been shown. I'm ending the drought. Sorry. Throat's doing weird stuff today. At least right now. But yeah, so like God might bring the rain to help, stuff grow, or he might, cause harsh storms that, rip houses apart or tear up crops or do other things like that. And God's in control of all that. And basically, yeah, Elihu is using all of those as examples of God's power and to show that it could also be part of God's judgment, whether good or bad. Okay. On to verse 14. Pay attention to this, Job. Stop and consider the wonderful miracles of God. Do you know how God controls the storm and causes the lightning to flash from his clouds? Do you understand how he moves the clouds with wonderful perfection and skill? When you are sweltering in your clothes and the south wind dies down and everything is still, he makes the skies reflect the heat like a bronze mirror. Can you do that? So teach the rest of us what to say to God. We are too ignorant to make our own arguments. Should God be notified that I want to speak? Can people even speak when they are confused? We cannot look at the sun, for it shines brightly in the sky when the wind clears away the clouds. So also, golden splendor comes from the mountain of God. He is clothed in dazzling splendor. We cannot imagine the power of the Almighty, but even though he is just and righteous, he does not destroy us. No wonder people everywhere fear him. All who are wise show him reverence. And that last verse in particular, I think, is in a way kind of the crux of why Elihu's saying this to begin with. Because the way he understood Job's words from earlier in the discussion, it seemed like he had no reverence for God. Because Job was talking about how, people, like wicked people might not get judged by God the way they seem to deserve. Or that, sometimes God doesn't answer the cries of those in need. Or, the way Job worded that stuff, though, might not inherently have sounded like he was just trying to point out exceptions to the general principles that the other people were talking about. So, there could have been some of that going on, or otherwise Elihu and other people around Job might have misunderstood what he was saying and the intent behind it, especially the intent behind it, and thought that Job was just trying to make excuses for some prior sin of his that he feels like he shouldn't be punished for now. But in any case, in that, Elihu even just called out Job and said that, or questioned his respect of or reverence for God. So, all this stuff talking about God's power and then capping it off with that and saying, this is why anyone who's wise, fears and respects God, because they know all that he can do. Job knows this stuff too, but Elihu, much like the other folks in the conversation, seem to be convinced that Job is blinded by his own sin, and that's why he's refusing to repent. They don't know I'm not sure Job even knows that all this stuff that happened to Job was just meant as a test of Job's faith. I mean, Job recognizes that he is innocent. He knows his own past and that he hasn't, certainly not recently, he hasn't done anything wrong that would merit such events as a punishment. But in any case, yeah. Honestly, otherwise, I feel like a lot of this is more of the same. I do wonder if Elihu's getting a bit sarcastic in here, because he sort of rhetorically asks Job, well, can you do all these things that display God's might to us? And, if you really can, then teach us, O wise one, your ways, because clearly you must, know more than the rest of us. And again, I sense a bit of sarcasm in there. I mean, that's not the first time somebody has been sarcastic throughout this conversation, although normally it's been Job up to this point. Note there at verse 20, I guess that would make it read, can people even speak without being swallowed up? Yeah, that doesn't necessarily, swallowed up, why, or how, or... That would leave me with a bunch of questions. Now, swallowed up in confusion, maybe, because, compared with God, our understanding is so small. And, if we were to come face to face with God, hear his wisdom, and, try and, we wouldn't be able to put up a valid argument against it. So, it might make us so dumbfounded that we're just, quote, swallowed up in confusion or silence or whatever. And then he starts talking about the sun here. Just making sure I didn't miss anything earlier that I wanted to get into more detail on. And honestly, not really. Verse 22 has a note here. Could read it from the north or from the abode rather than from the mountain of God. Okay. Yeah, I'm wasn't the mountain of God... I thought the mountain that they would have called the mountain of God was actually kind of relatively in the south of ancient Israel, if even within ancient Israel. So the whole from the north there would confuse me a bit, but the abode is just okay, that's God's abode, the place they call the mountain of God could also, I could see that being considered sort of his dwelling place or his abode. But in any case, it's so Elihu talks about the brightness of the sun and how, we can't look at it because of how bright it is once, the clouds are away and they've cleared up and are not blocking the sun. And sort of saying that, the splendor of God is like that, if not even greater than it. And, you know, I guess that kind of also just relates again to how much greater God is than us and how it's hard for us to understand. Because if we can't even look at the full brightness of the sun to really comprehend just how powerful its brightness is, similarly, like, we can't even look at the fullness of God without being blinded or overwhelmed in some way. So how are we supposed to understand a being that is so much greater than we can even interact with? Or maybe that's not the best way to put it. So much greater than we can, fully even just look at, never mind understand. And last note there, in verse 24, as in the Greek version, Hebrew reads, "He is not impressed by the wise." I mean, that's almost kind of the flip side of the same coin. Like, the people who are truly wise revere God because of how wise God is and how powerful and all that. So, obviously, if God is so much higher than us in power and especially wisdom, any wisdom that we might have would not be impressive to such a being. So, yeah. And there's an end quote there. I think, yep. Quick peek at the next chapter says, Elihu's speech is done, which is interesting that it ends like that. We don't get any kind of, it doesn't seem like we're going to get any kind of response directly from Job. But, yeah. So, Elihu has built up this case across a few chapters of basically saying, Job, you just don't understand God. And that's why you believe that you're innocent and that God is not going to make things right. And if I were to summarize Elihu's entire argument in one sentence, I guess that's it. Job, you just don't understand God. But Job does understand God pretty well. Like, basically all that Elihu has said, other people who were friends of Job earlier in the conversation said similar things. And Job pretty much responded in ways that told us, yeah, he knows all these things already. And I mean, we know from how it describes Job early in the book that, yes, he did revere God. He made offerings all the time, not only to cover for his own possible sins, but for the potential sins of his children that they might have committed that he's unaware of, that might have happened at various feasts or whatever that they held. And, like, we've heard about how Job helped people when they were in need and was respected by those around him. And, like, it's just that now that Job has come across this, like, personal calamity, everyone is like, sinner, you are, out of line. You just don't recognize what you did, and now you're, insulting God by insisting that you're innocent. But no, Job Job understands his own situation more than the rest of the people. They just can't get out of their own framework of how God's justice works. Anyway, I'm digressing at this point and repeating things I have said in previous chapters. So I guess that's going to do it for this one. Man. Okay. Chapter 38 is definitely a bit longer. So I guess I should just hop right into it. Alrighty. We're at Job chapter 38 now. So this guy Elihu was speaking for the past few chapters, pretty much trying to make a case to Job specifically and or to people around him how Job was in the wrong or even just misunderstanding God. But we know based on, the early chapters of the book that Job isn't being punished by God. Yes, a lot of bad stuff happened to him, but it's actually a test of faith, essentially, is the best way to put it. Or at least one of the more accurate ways to put it. So it's not necessarily cited that Job did anything wrong to deserve all this stuff happening. He just, is being tested. And all the people around him, because all this bad stuff happened, and they have this framework in their minds that, because of the history that they're aware of, they see that, well, when people have gone against God, things have gone poorly, and when people have followed God and obeyed him, things have gone well. Like, they have history to back that up. It's not necessarily a flaw in their, thinking about their own experiences or the history of their people that brings them to a bad conclusion about Job. It's just they're taking the general truth of that prior history and experience and assuming that it applies to every individual case. And that is not the case with Job. So, Elihu has essentially been going on for a few chapters about, saying Job just doesn't really understand God or God's justice. That if Job is truly righteous, he just needs to wait for God to bring justice. Otherwise, he's got to recognize his wrong and change his ways. Either way, his thinking is that Job complaining about his current situation and, focusing on sort of the exceptions to their framework isn't helpful. But Elihu's statements have been wrapped up now. And it seems we're gonna get a very different perspective on this. Straight from God himself. But let's see what happens in Job chapter 38. Then the Lord answered Job from the whirlwind. Who is this that questions my wisdom with such ignorant words? Brace yourself like a man, because I have some questions for you, and you must answer them. Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Tell me if you know so much. Who determined its dimensions and stretched out the surveying line? What supports its foundations, and who laid its cornerstone as the morning stars sang together and all the angels shouted for joy? Who kept the sea inside its boundaries as it burst from the womb? And as I clothed it with clouds and wrapped it in thick darkness. For I locked it behind barred gates, limiting its shores. I said, this far and no farther will you come. Here your proud waves must stop. Seems like this sort of line of questioning is going to continue. So, admittedly, if God himself is coming in with this, and it says he answered Job from the whirlwind. So, like, if God himself is calling Job's words ignorant, you know, like, we know Job was in a bad spot because of all the stuff that had happened to him. So it's certainly possible that a lot of what he said was more emotional outburst than rational thought. But that doesn't necessarily mean the people pointing the finger at him were correct either. This is just Job being called out by God for the things that he himself said in his emotional state, I guess. And yeah, so the questioning of Job's knowledge comes in from God himself now. And let's not jump to any conclusions, though, that God is going to wrap it up in the same way as other people, where they said basically, well, if you don't know these things, then you have no right to question God. Note there at the word angels, Hebrew says the sons of God. Similar thing, celestial beings of a sort, probably. But yeah, it's like, well, obviously, Job doesn't know all of this stuff about the foundations of the world and everything that happened when it was established. These are very much rhetorical questions. But, it is, in a way, right for God to point out how little we understand relative to him. But the other people who said the same thing, I don't know for sure if their motives were, I mean, it even seems like, based on what was in the text, that some of the other people in the conversation with Job were motivated more by their own anger and, you know, felt the need to kind of like defend God and or their own theology than to actually try and help Job, whether actually helping him by filling a need of his or by, you know, trying to actually get him to understand his own situation better. Like, the motivation matters. And at least for a couple of people in that conversation, they didn't exactly have the best motives. But, let's see what else God says, I suppose. Starting in verse 12. Have you ever commanded the morning to appear and caused the dawn to rise in the east? Have you made daylight spread to the ends of the earth, to bring an end to the night's wickedness? As the light approaches, the earth takes shape like clay pressed beneath a seal. It is robed in brilliant colors. The light disturbs the wicked and stops the arm that is raised in violence. Have you explored the springs from which the seas come? Have you explored their depths? Do you know where the gates of death are located? Have you seen the gates of utter gloom? Do you realize the extent of the earth? Tell me about it if you know. Where does light come from, and where does darkness go? Can you take each to its home? Do you know how to get there? But of course you know all of this, for you were born before it was all created, and you are so very experienced. Gotta say, this sounds a little sassier than most people would expect coming from God. And, kind of leaves me wondering, okay, where's he going with all this? And I don't know if we're even necessarily going to get the answer to that in this chapter. I mean, I have read this before in other translations, but I'm not going to recall every single word from every single verse. I don't have that kind of a memory. Note there at brilliant colors. Could say its features stand out like folds in a robe. Okay, I mean, either way, saying in a way that the beauty, majesty, the whatever, all that stuff that realistically should point us to an intelligent design from God, or even at the very least a creative design from God, all that becomes apparent as, light shines on the earth and we see all its features. But, I'm not going to necessarily say too much about, what God is getting at with all this until we actually kind of get to the point after all these rhetorical questions and whatnot. So for now, I think I'm just going to continue moving along. I believe we left it off at verse 22. Yeah. Have you visited the storehouses of the snow or seen the storehouses of hail? I have reserved them as weapons for the time of trouble, for the day of battle and war. Where is the path to the source of light? Where is the home of the east wind? Who created a channel for the torrents of rain? Who laid out the path for the lightning? Who makes the rain fall on barren land, in a desert where no one lives? Who sends rain to satisfy the parched ground and make the tender grass spring up? Does the rain have a father? Who gives birth to the dew? Who is the mother of the ice? Who gives birth to the frost from the heavens? For the water turns to ice as hard as rock, and the surface of the water freezes. It seems like a lot of this is going to be the same kind of general talking point, sort of. So, honestly, I think I'm just going to continue either until the end of the chapter or until it seems like it's going to be something different. Okay, so verse 31. Can you direct the movement of the stars, binding the cluster of the Pleiades or loosening the cords of Orion? Can you direct the constellations through the seasons, or guide the bear with her cubs across the heavens? Do you know the laws of the universe? Can you use them to regulate the earth? Can you shout to the clouds and make it rain? Can you make lightning appear and cause it to strike as you direct? Who gives intuition to the heart and instinct to the mind? Who is wise enough to count all the clouds? Who can tilt the water jars of heaven when the parched ground is dry and the soil has hardened into clods? Can you stalk prey for a lioness and satisfy the young lion's appetites as they lie in their dens or crouch in the thicket? Who provides proof? Who provides food for the ravens when their young cry out to God and wander about in hunger? And no end quote there, which makes it seem pretty obvious to me that we're going to hear more in the next chapter. So, like, really, the main thing that I would say is demonstrated by God coming in and asking all these rhetorical questions and kind of questioning Job's knowledge and wisdom and all that is the main thing I would say as a result of that is, okay, yeah, Job's friends and Elihu, the people who were not on Job's side of the argument, were quite right to call Job out on his level of understanding. Like, not that Job understood any less than them, because I'm sure if those questions were asked to the other people in the conversation, they would have also said, well, I don't know these things. Nobody knows these things except God. So, again, I think it's more so just to say that, like, you know, the words that Job spoke that questioned God and the way that he does things, that was kind of where Job was in the wrong in this whole situation. And perhaps Job questioned God because he thought it was unfair, or that, you know, he was distressed over his own situation and felt like he had been wronged by God for no apparent reason. And, you know, like there was no point in what God was doing. But God, like the other people in the conversation before, you know, points to the things that Job doesn't know that God does as a way of saying, yeah, you might not just understand the full picture of what's going on right now and what's happening to you even specifically. Like, yeah, even when we have a close relationship with God, that doesn't mean we understand all the ways that God works, and especially not at all times. So, like, Job saw his situation as completely pointless, it seems, and wondered, you know, why is there suffering at all? Why, you know, would God do this to me? It seems almost like God's being a bully here, who just wants to shove me down for no apparent reason. So, while Job was, like, Job maintaining his innocence wasn't necessarily the problem with all this. And this also doesn't mean that the people who were arguing against Job were correct in assuming that he had sinned. The main thing that this confirms is just that, Job didn't fully understand why God might do something like this. And where Job went wrong with it, essentially, is like kind of throwing accusations against God and challenging God because he himself didn't understand the point of what was going on. And I would imagine we'll get some kind of better answer to all of that in the next couple of chapters, because the entirety of this one was really just God hammering in the point that, Job, you don't understand everything that's going on. You don't know about all these things that have happened before. You don't see as much of the picture as I, the Lord, do. Therefore, you need to stop questioning me and let me do my thing, rather than, hurl accusations or, sit there and just complain about the apparent injustice. Like, Elihu, part of what he said to Job was just kind of like, all right, dude, just wait it out. Again, we don't have confirmation of a time frame for this, other than the fact that there was a week in between when Job's testing started and when the argument began. We don't know how long the argument's been going on. Whether it's been hours, days, weeks, whatever. So, I know I said this before, but I'll say it again. If it really was just a week, and then Job is throwing all these statements out there about, apparent injustices that God seems to allow and other such things, it's like, all right, dude, you're emotional. Chill out. Just wait a bit. And God will bring justice. Which, if Job is truly righteous, should then mean that he is restored, for lack of a better way to put it. Or God's going to use him for something else. But anyway, okay. I guess I don't really have too much else to say, because, again, this is all kind of like same line of thinking and argument, and it's been sort of said before in other ways in previous chapters. I just want to make sure there aren't any sort of notes from the translators that I'm missing. Sure doesn't look like it. So, I guess that'll do it for chapter 38. And yeah, we are going to, unsurprisingly, hear more from God in the next chapter. So, if you're confused about where God's going with all of this, maybe tune in for the next chapter. And perhaps the one after that. I don't know for sure. But stay tuned to get more of, where this is all actually headed. Okay. And that is actually all I got planned for the current Bible study segment, section thing of the stream. But, yeah. Okay, well, I'm not going to sit here and keep looking ahead, because that is just me being curious for a reminder of kind of the end result of the argument, so to speak. I mean, I'm pretty sure I recall what eventually happens with Job himself, but not necessarily the end point of, you know, the conversation. In any case, all right. So coming up will be Hogwarts Legacy. I figure as I get that set up and ready to go, I'll just go ahead and run some ads on Twitch, so then I'm not interrupting as much once I get that started. So once again, Twitch folks, I will see y'all in a little bit. Okay. Meanwhile, move some stuff around a little bit, like literally move my microphone. Also got to make sure that I change the stream category on Twitch to Hogwarts Legacy. Alright. Let me boot up the game on my Xbox now. Okay. Bring this up. Get rid of my own background music, because that's probably not going to be needed now. Man. My throat is not exactly liking me today. Okay. Let's get the save file loaded up. Oh, man. So, just tiny little background info, or behind the scenes, I guess you could say, info thing. So, I recently was gifted a like just a small USB hub sort of thing, where basically I could take one port and make it into, in this case, 4. And now the way I've got that set up, it kind of has extended the range of my microphone cord a little bit. So I can definitely move this further to the side without it causing any issues. Whereas before, if I had it like this, it would be kind of not quite, you know, at 100% full length taut from where it's plugged into the computer. That's taut being just T-A-U-T, like tight. But yeah, it would be not on the floor like it is now and kind of hanging a bit in the air. So I'd have to put my leg in a different position, and that would be a bit awkward, and just, yeah, anyway. I will say, though, the one thing that was very much not helped by plugging it into the USB hub was my external hard drive and trying to transfer files to it. Oh my gosh, that became slow as molasses when I tried that out. And then literally just paused the file transfer, unplugged the external hard drive from that, used the one port that I had my microphone in, and only my microphone, to plug the hub in there, and then put the microphone into the hub, and then used the other port that was then free to plug the hard drive in. And file transfers were back to normal. Anyway. I know, random thoughts, but just... I was noting how much better it felt like the microphone was... Or how much better it felt having the microphone further over this way today as opposed to, you know, some other streams that I did before utilizing the USB hub. Anyway. Okay. Well, that was a bunch of rambling on about nothing really significant. Anywho. Okay. Right. Okay. Hold up. Was there a straight up guideline like that before? Or I guess there was. Or maybe it was just previously I had just looked at the mini map and yeah, I don't know. Anyway. Okay. I suppose it's about time I actually hit record and start rolling with this here. Okay. So. Back. And I'm gonna see, I guess, what we're gonna learn from Professor Hecat that might help us in our future endeavors in the restricted section of the library, for one, but then also maybe as we figure out whatever the heck's going on with the stuff we found in the vault and, like, all the things with Rookwood and Ranrock and, like, why they're all, like, after the same thing that we have found. Alright, hang on a sec. It's been a little bit, so forgive some slight rustiness. There's Revelio. Okay. Field guide page. Hebridean black skeleton. This large dragon skeleton that hangs in the Defense Against the Dark Arts classroom is allegedly a trophy taken by Professor Hecat after she single-handedly defeated one of the largest poaching rings in eastern Wales during the Great Poacher Raid of 1878. Huh. Okay. Speaking of Professor Hecat...
I'm here about the new spell you wanted to teach me, Professor.
Good. Professor Fig indicated a certain urgency to you completing your defensive magic assignments. As such, you are to learn Incendio, the fire-making spell, handy for lighting torches, burning away spider webs, and, when necessary, defending against those who would wish to do us harm.
Incendio, eh?
Sounds versatile.
Quite. But before we get started, I'd like you to complete a few tasks. You may be surprised by some of them. Astonishing how much students don't think their professors know. When you're finished, come and see me. Then we shall begin working on Incendio. You know where to find me once you've finished.
Win 2 rounds of crossed wands. Okay, so that's... like, specifically the, you know, kind of dueling club thing, if I remember right. And complete a round of spell combination practice with Lucan Brattleby. Huh.
Seems crossed wands isn't as secret as it's believed to be.
Yeah. So I guess, what, Professor Hecat wants to see a bit more of our proficiency with some other things first. Well, not see necessarily, but anyway. It just showed a flue flame on the mini map, but maybe that's on another floor or somewhere higher up. Speaking of flue flames, maybe I should have just used one of those to get to where I'm going here. I don't even really know how far away I'm going. But, you know, I guess in more open world games, I personally have a bit of a tendency, when possible, and not really trying to shove my way through the story, I tend to avoid the fast travel just so I can, you know, find, or at least potentially find some other things along the way. Like this. Lace sorcerer hat. Hang on a sec. Gear. Headwear. That does give us one more defense point. So, sure. Might like to change the look of it, though. Okay, so I could basically pick any of the other hats that I've unlocked, or not even have it visible at all. Seems like that's the general gist for a lot of the gear, actually. Okay.
I'd better keep
Ravenclaw
an eye on
Tower.
places around the school for Zenobia's gobstones.
Okay, the fact that he specifically mentioned high places. Oh. I guess that's one of the stones I'm looking for. Accio.
Accio. Well, that's one of Zenobia's gobstones. I hardly see what all the fuss is about.
So yeah, and stuff like that. If I just fast traveled everywhere, I would get literally none of this. Or at least a whole lot less of it. Hello. Also, I guess, generally speaking, I just need to, when I'm looking for things specifically, I need to just look around each room for little white dot things, because that seems to show all the stuff that I can potentially interact with. Okay, I saw a treasure chest thing on the minimap, but that's, I guess, just outside. And what is this?
Accio.
Well, that didn't do anything, but Revelio.
Revelio.
Field guide page. Map of Argyllshire. This map depicts Argyllshire, a region in Scotland which contains the Hebrides. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. Native home of the Hebridean Black Dragon. Oh, the one that the skeleton we just saw was Anyway. So, okay. Accio doesn't seem to do anything. I doubt Lumos would.
Lumos.
Reparo.
Reparo.
There's got to be a reason this is highlighted.
Levioso.
Maybe I just don't have the right spell yet. Clock Tower. Enter. Oh, if it was a whole separate section of the map, then maybe I should have tried to use a Flue Flame. Although, have I even been to the Clock Tower before in order to have a Flue Flame accessible? I'm not so sure. In fact, kind of seems like I don't based on this. Okay. Now I for sure have a Flue Flame.
It's just over there.
What do I do with you? Lumos.
Lumos.
Accio.
Accio.
Repair it.
Levioso.
Ah, okay. Suppose Levioso makes some sense there. Another field guide page. I'm just gonna keep trying, like, all the spells when I see stuff that could be interacted with.
Can I help you?
Level 1 lock. Oh.
Can I help you?
Oh, Lucan Brattleby.
Sebastian told me to see you about a club.
If Sebastian vouches for you, that's all I need to know. I coordinate duels for crossed ones. A dueling club of sorts. It's invitation only, so you must have really impressed Sebastian.
I'm flattered to hear that. Sebastian's not a bad duelist either.
Imagine it's quite something to see the two of you duel.
How does cross wands work exactly?
You show up, I match you with other duelists, and whoever is still standing in the end wins. It's our way of determining the school's greatest duelist once and for all. And to liven things up, the winner is awarded a prize. Interested?
Nope, not interested at all.
Of course. Dueling's an entertaining pastime.
I agree. Besides, in crossed ones, you could duel with a partner if you like. Your first time I'll pair you with Sebastian. Next time, you'll need to bring a partner along, or duel alone. So, care to step into the ring?
Sure.
Get me in the ring.
Spectacular! Let the fireworks begin!
We'll make you regret signing up.
Yeah, will you now? Break through yellow shields with control spells like Levioso. Target lock lets you track enemies without aiming. Use right stick to change targets while locked. Okay, yeah. I'm like, wait, how does the dueling work again?
Potato! Stupid! There goes my way. Come on! Potato! Stupid!
Right bumper. Ah, okay.
I'm the one.
Yeah, that
One day I'll sign up for a round.
felt like a warm-up for sure, because I had
Nice work.
not been
Sebastian
warmed
wasn't
up at
wrong
all.
about you. There's strong competition
first
ahead,
bit of dueling
but
I've
keep
done,
this up,
you know, since
and
the
you
last
could be
time
the
I
next world
recorded, which
champion.
was
Brilliant.
a couple weeks
Count
ago,
me in.
honestly.
I shall. In fact, the second duel is ready when you are. And as a fully initiated member, you now have access to the official Crossed Wands training dummy. Very good way to master spell combinations. Come and see me, and I'll set it up. Again, congratulations on your first Crossed Wands victory. Well fought. Hope to see you back here again.
Okay. So, that's one round of crossed wands complete. Ooh, hey, leveled up. And
Glad you're back.
I think I'd like to use the training dummy first before I
Hello, Lucan.
get
Can I
into
use
another
the
duel.
training dummy?
Of course. I'll fetch it and give you a list of combinations to practice. Ready to have a try now?
Like, why would you even initiate the conversation if you weren't?
That would be wonderful.
Be sure
I
to
mean,
practice all
I-
your spells before the dummy lands. If you need to stop practicing before you finish all of them, let me know.
From, you know, a gamer slash development perspective, I guess I could understand them wanting to just make absolutely sure people aren't just spamming things or whatever. Yeah, okay, that was easy enough.
Excellent form.
Levioso. Complete spell combinations without allowing the enemy dummy to hit the ground. Okay. Okay.
Nicely done. I'd say that's enough practice. You looked good out there.
Thank you, Lucan.
I mean, when you
suspect
give me the
it's someone
sequence of
easier
stuff to
during
press,
practice than during a duel.
it's a lot easier
Be a
to
fearsome challenger now.
it's a lot easier to do that than in the middle of a duel when I'm just trying to like make sure that I'm not getting hurt too badly or whatever like that. All right. One more round of crossed ones.
Hello, Lucan. Is the next round of crossed wands all set?
Why, yes it is. I've got a great match lined up. Ready for another round?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Brilliant. Are you dueling with a partner?
Oh, I could actually pick a partner for this. No, I want to try it solo this time.
I'll be dueling solo.
Then let's get to it. Ready
Figure
to
that'll
get
shake it up a little bit.
Apologies in advance.
Oh, geez, I have 3 opponents? Adept round. Break through Violet Shields with 4 spells, like the Summoning Charm Accio. And then target lock and all that. Yeah.
Stupefy. That's all you've got? Accio. Stupefy. You're better than that.
Ah, crud, wrong button there. I need to change targets is what I need to do.
Potato. Stupefy. Stupefy. Levioso. Stupefy. There goes the fire. Potato. Stupefy.
Okay, there's one down. Got so caught up in trying to change targets for a second.
Levioso.
Okay.
Stupefy. Levioso. Accio.
Yeah, definitely
Duel like that.
makes it easier when they give you room to change
Bravo!
or,
I
you
gave it
know,
my all.
You did indeed.
get
All
the
duelists
different
have
spells
already
chained
taken
together like
notice
that.
of you. But after that last round, they'll really have it in for you. You'd better keep practicing if you want a chance at winning. Or at least surviving the next round. I'll let you know when we're ready. Hope to see you then. The next round is for all the gobstones, so to speak.
Assignment's all finished.
Okay, I guess the next round isn't ready yet. Oh, hello.
Perhaps I should stick to potions.
Okay. There is a white dot floating above her head. That's why I specifically tried to talk with her. Okay. I guess there's nothing else that we need to do here. Not sure there's much else that we can do here. So, I suppose at this point, I will actually go ahead and use a flu flame to get back closer to Professor Hecat. You know, instead of backtracking all the way that I just walked. Because while there's a slight chance I might find something new, it's less likely given that I just walked along that path. And cool, this was the best flu flame to pick. Right across from her classroom.
I trust Mr. Brattleby was able to accommodate you and that you found success in your endeavors.
Well, yes, thank you.
I finished all of the tasks you gave me, Professor Hecat.
Glad to hear it. Then you should be ready to learn Incendio.
Should be, Professor.
Yes. I'm sorry to say, I visited enough careless colleagues at St. Mungo's to assure you that fire is a fickle servant. Your spellcasting has impressed me thus far, but please maintain focus. I would rather we not end today's lesson with your robes aflame. Let us begin.
Yeah.
And remember, focus on the proper wand movement. Concentrate and keep your wand steady.
And there we go. We have learned Incendio. You've learned enough spells that you'll need to equip Incendio to your spell set. To do this, you'll need to swap it with a different spell. Spell selection menu.
Good work.
Okay. I'm thinking, for the most part, well, I'm like, it should be pretty obvious when I need to use Lumos. I don't know how often that's going to be like a, you know, sudden spur of the moment kind of thing. All that to say, I think for now I'm swapping out Lumos to put in Incendio.
Feel free to practice in the classroom before you go. I've set up a few targets for you.
Targets, eh? Where might these target? Well, okay, that's an obvious target. Incendio is a heavy damage spell that unleashes destructive flames at short range.
Incendio.
Getting it. Keep at it. And do try not to incinerate yourself.
Okay, but what about these, like, baskets or whatever? Like, if I cast it from here...
Setting things ablaze is certainly cathartic, isn't it?
Oh. Had to wait just a little bit longer, I guess. Okay, but now, what if I, like...
Levioso. Accio. Incendio.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a combination somewhat like that that will come up in the crossed ones area before too long. But for now, why is it pointing out something here on the map? Although that might be on a different floor. I'm not sure. Just taking the occasional look around for any other, field pages or field guide pages, sorry, or other objectives or things like that. Because while I do want to progress the story, I'm not exactly rushing through it. That's supposed to be the girls' lavatory, isn't it? Thus the witch symbol on the outside. What is here? Pick up. Professor Fig, as if my schedule wasn't congested enough, the Ministry has charged me with arranging the rather inconvenient arrival of a new student at Hogwarts, a 5th year if you can believe. Professor Weasley insists that they need an escort and a mentor to help them acclimatize before term begins. I have assigned the task to you. Please see Professor Weasley for details. Professor Phineas Nigellus Black, Headmaster. I'm not sure I pronounced the middle name correctly there, but okay. So all this was Professor Fig helping the headmaster with something that he was specifically asked to do.
Ah, there you are.
Did I seriously just, like, wait on the floor all night?
Hello, sir. You'll be pleased to know that I worked on my defensive magic with Professor Hecat.
So I hear. She tells me you've taken rather well to your new wand. You must continue to work with her and your other professors to improve your skills. That said, I don't wish to postpone our visit to the library any longer. So, shall we proceed?
Fig, I have work for you. Come.
Headmaster, I'm with a student and my schedule
Your schedule will wait indefinitely, as will your student. I would think that after all the trouble you caused me with Osric, you'd be eager to make amends. My office, 5 minutes.
That man is exasperating.
Yeah, I'm like,
Unfortunately, our trip to the restricted
so much for the
section will have to
restricted
wait
section, I
a
guess.
bit longer.
But, Professor...
We have no choice. It would be unwise to provoke our illustrious headmaster further. I shall find you when I've completed whatever toils I must endure.
Okay. Talk to Sebastian. Oh yeah, so if it wasn't obvious at the start of this recording, I found words. Anyway, found out that instead of just relying on the minimap, I can, like, bring up a guideline. A lot like I've been doing in Borderlands 4 lately. Alright. Doesn't seem like Sebastian should be too far away, based on this. Hello.
Sebastian, there you are. I was hoping to see you. I was in the Three Broomsticks after the troll attack and saw what happened with Rookwood and Harlow.
Not many students have Victor Rookwood's attention. What was that all about?
Alright. How much do I spill here? Because, like, saying it's to do with Ranrock would only bring up more questions, I'd imagine. It's not exactly lying to say you're not entirely sure because you don't know what they're after, but I think general gist, it's probably better to say
I've never even met him. Perhaps
that
he mistook me for another
you're not
student.
sure.
If you say so. I won't press you now, but you will have to tell me what's going on at some point. You might need me. So, why were you looking for me?
I need to find something for Professor Fig, but it's in the restricted section of the library.
He can't get it himself?
He was called away by Black at the last moment. I suppose I could wait to get a note from him, but...
You want to show some initiative.
Precisely. You mentioned being clever enough not to get caught in the restricted section.
And I am. Meet me outside the library tonight, and tell no one.
What will happen if we're caught in the restricted section?
Detention, no doubt. But a word of caution or two will help. For one, avoid Peeves, the poltergeist. Aside from wanton destruction of property, he loves nothing more than telling on the likes of us.
Okay, avoid Peeves.
How concerned should I be about the librarian?
Madam Scribner doesn't take kindly to clandestine activities taking place amongst her precious books. So do all that you can to avoid her. She and I have had our entanglements, but I can hold my own against her. You may not be so lucky.
Okay.
Thank you, Sebastian. I'll meet you later.
I guess it's just gonna take us straight to that evening. I will admit I somewhat hoped it would give more time in between to have it feel like a more natural, you know, like you're there in the midst of it and you still have other classes to go to, you know, making it feel a little bit more like regular life and less just like plot advancement.
See there? That's the door we need to reach. And those annoying prefects would love nothing more than to rat on us to Scribner, so don't let them see us. Understood?
I can be sneaky. Let's go.
Hold on now. There's a spell you should know. The Disillusionment Charm. Good for getting places you're not supposed to be. Cast it and you'll appear as little more than a trick of the light, just as long as you keep your distance and stay quiet.
You mean I'll actually be able to turn invisible?
Something like that. It's not as foolproof as a cloak, but those are expensive. And spells are free. Give it a try.
Disillusionment. Okay. New spell unlocked. Okay. Use disillusionment to avoid being detected in off-limit areas. I need to equip that, I would imagine. Yeah, I guess I'll replace Reparo with that for now. I mean, it sure seemed, based on the series of events, it sure seems like I'll need Incendio for something. Accio is always helpful. Levioso, I'm not 100% sure how necessary that'll be. Lumos might be within the restricted section, but also, wouldn't that also kind of... I just realized I used also twice very quickly there. But wouldn't Lumos kind of make it easier for us to get caught? Alright. Quietly. Nearby adversaries will sense and then investigate suspicious behavior. Being caught by authority figures will result in quest failure. Okay, so I guess it's not until the question mark thing fills up that they're truly suspicious of anything. Okay. It was not inherently obvious that I was being caught there. Yeah, try again. I just gotta get used to how it works, I think. Not sure I was mentally ready to do, you know, a Metal Gear type stealth mission. See, now the guideline is specifically directing me that way. But is that really the best way? Or would I perhaps be better off doing something else? See, okay. So they went over that way. Okay, now that they're over there, maybe I can sneak around this way. Yeah. Okay. But now, how would I get past them? They're both, like, right there. See, if I use that, that would just alert their attention. Although, maybe if I go elsewhere for a moment while they... That did not seem to distract them worth anything.
Blast. The librarian's still here. Quick, behind the bookcase.
Alright. I don't necessarily know what the patrols are gonna look like since this is my first time doing this, but alright.
You told me the librarian would be gone by now. I said usually, but it'll still be all right. Do you see her desk behind me?
The key is in the drawer of that desk. Now, here's what we're going to do. I'll create a distraction to draw her away. You focus on getting the key. I'll meet you outside of the restricted section.
Why do we need the key? Why do you need any key for anything to unlock stuff?
You distract, I get the key. Understood.
I said I'd get you in, and I always keep my word. Trust me.
Okay. Still have the disillusionment charm going. Alright, Sebastian, where are you? And where is this distraction that you're supposedly creating?
Is someone there? Is that you, Peeves? Goodness gracious, what a mess!
Seems like I got the key. Doesn't seem like the librarian's particularly close to here. Just kind of gonna hang around the outside a bit. And
That wasn't so difficult after all. How to find that book.
because that's not going to be obvious at all. Interact. I don't necessarily want to interact with something that would make some noise. Oh well.
Oh, that one's charmed to look more useful than it is. It's fooled me twice. Never judge a tome by its cover, I say.
Okay. Going down here. Use basic cast while undetected to lure authority figures and enemies to a desired location. Aim mode grants precision spell targeting and reveals additional spell targets. Okay.
Ghost, don't let her see you.
Oh. And where, pray tell, am I to, cause this distraction? I imagine... Yeah. Okay. Seems to have drawn her attention. But maybe not enough.
You aren't supposed to be here. It's, here.
And there's another one there. Doggone it.
At this hour.
I mean, obviously, I'm gonna keep trying again. Hopefully, it won't make me redo the entire quest. That would be extremely inconvenient.
Silent as a grave.
Okay. This makes enough sense to me to resume the mission from here. Yeah.
Ghost.
But how was I supposed to distract the second ghost? Yeah, you see, that's the thing where it's like, okay, do I need to move slower or quicker in that case? And now I don't really have a target, do I? Okay, so it seems to work whether or not there's actually a specific target. Okay, let's try it again. Maybe now that the other patrol ghost has gone in a different direction. I need you to go somewhere else, please. I do not move. Huh? I need that ghost to move. Why do they not move? Watch this end up being some kind of glitch. I can't get around there with the ghost right in that path. Okay, what about over here? Can I do a thing here? Kind of hard to see much of anything. But
Leave us to waft about in peace. Out of here with you.
okay. That whole sequence just strikes me as odd and possibly not intended to be how that works.
I'll be quieter than a jobberknoll. Oh, that one's charmed to look more useful than it is. It's fooled me twice. Never judge a tome by its cover, I say.
Okay, da. Yes.
Ghost, don't let her see you.
Okay, you're going that way. Okay, but now you're headed back there. And this is where I run into problems. Definitely gotta wait until the one goes. Well, See, now she's just there. Okay, she went that way. This one isn't moving. Okay, go, 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 go. Hopefully that's good enough. Alright.
Should be in the clear. There's no need for us to be skulking about.
Yeah, you say that.
So what is it you've been looking for?
I'm looking for a cure to help my twin sister, Anne, so that she can return to Hogwarts. Because Merlin knows everyone else has given her.
Revelio, why do you think we'll find a cure in the restricted section? There's the Hogwarts matron.
Enchanted books. Best to avoid these books if possible. Due not as much to their tendency to fly from one's hands as their content being spectacular drivel of no educational value whatsoever.
No, we've tried everyone from Nurse Blaney to St. Mungo's. But I can research on my own. No need to concern yourself with that right now. Let's focus on what you're after. Which is what, precisely?
I'll know it when I see it.
You're being awfully cryptic.
Yeah, he said we should be in the clear. I don't know if I trust it. Oh, is that how I open these kinds of chests? I need disillusionment. Okay. So I literally could not have done that in my first Hogsmeade visit. Suppose that's not really too surprising. Okay, I'm not seeing any... Not seeing anyone or anything that would get us in trouble here. You. Levioso.
Levioso.
Cool. That's considered a chest? I guess. Just a small one. And... suppose...
Who have we here? Sebastian Sallow and his new little friend.
Oh, Peeves.
Exploring where they shouldn't be. Naughty, naughty, you'll get caught.
Peeves, don't
I'm going to tell, I'm going to tell, I'm going to tell.
Oh, blasted Peeves! I've got to stop him, or at least get to the librarian with a good excuse for all of this.
Okay, whatever.
Wait, I don't want you getting into trouble for me.
I have a way with the faculty when it comes to disciplinary matters. Besides, I like having friends who are in my debt. Now go. Good luck in your search. Now, where has that damned poltergeist got to?
I know just the spell to repair this armor.
Nope, that's not what I need. Okay. I guess I will... take out Levioso for now, maybe. I don't know. Whatever.
Repair it.
Cedar rivet gloves. I'll maybe look into that later. And further down we go. Very tight winding staircase there.
Of course, traces of ancient magic. There must be more to this room. That's it.
Oh. Enter the Athenium? Is that what that's called, I guess? Ornate two-tone gloves. I get a feeling there might be something significant after I go through that door. I don't know. You know what? Just a little bit further. We'll see what happens here before I completely wrap this up. Unless it gets me to a whole another large section where I'm gonna have a bunch of stuff to do. You know what? That seems like that might be exactly what's about to happen here. Reparo? No. Don't know how exactly am I to get across.
Ah, I need to wake up that rune over there.
Wake it up how? Just... Okay, yeah. Just that. Oh, yeah. Ooh, hello.
Not surprising. Guards at the ready.
Yeah, okay. There's definitely going to be a few things to do here. Actually, could I just hide myself from them right now? No, it doesn't seem like it. Okay, fine. Oh, jeez. It jumped. Oh, yeah. There we go. Your gift of ancient magic accumulates by successfully attacking or taking damage. Successful 10+ hit combos will begin generating ancient magic power-ups. Collecting these will greatly fill your ancient magic meter and recover a small amount of health. When at least one segment of your ancient magic meter is full, you can cast devastating ancient magic attacks that deal massive damage and break shield charms. Tap left and right bumper when you see the prompt over an enemy's head. Yeah, thanks, I already did some of that. I appreciate the, you know, text tutorial after the action for it. Okay, yeah, there's definitely going to be a little bit more going on here. And with that in mind, first off, let me... I don't know how helpful the disillusionment charm is going to be at this point. I would much rather... Well, right now I guess I'll replace Reparo with Levioso, and then maybe... if Reparo is needed at some other point, I'll replace the the disillusionment charm with that. But for the moment, I think this is where I will pause the recording before I see what happens next, which is probably going to be more than just a little bit. Okay. One hour of that done. Another hour soon to come, but I will, in the meantime, run the next set of ads on Twitch, and then have a look at my gear and such in the game. See what I might want to do with all that. Okay. I've got new handwear. That's 16 offense. Well, that definitely seems like the best one to have right now. Let me see what appearance options I have. Oh, man. Nah. No. Given the uniform, I would think just like black with a little bit of gold worked in there, or yellow-ish would be nice. Trying to keep it in theme, but wand handles. Botanical gold leaf, okay. So that's just the, yeah, just the base of it. Feel like it clashes a little bit with the color. Since it doesn't provide any particular effect, I figure I'll leave that off. Okay. Man. Okay. Suppose now it's time to continue. Okay. So, I have entered the restricted section of the library and found this chamber thing. More guards, surprise, surprise. That doesn't work at ranges like that. Okay. Could have tried to combo a little bit more than that, but whatever. No big deal, I guess. No. Can't bring that over towards me, I guess. I do, however, need to hit that thing to wake it up. So I can go this way. Whoa, okay. Maybe I need to hit it multiple times. No? What? Okay, what the... Unless I just gotta do like a full combo on it or something. Nope. Still... Okay, how do I work that out? But it just keeps doing the same thing over and over.
Accio.
That doesn't seem to work.
Accio. Levioso.
I don't get it. Jump. Okay. Good enough. Not 100% sure if that's what was intended, but that's what I'm going with.
This must be the way forward, but to where? Incendio!
Hang on, maybe I need to... That looks like it needs to be lit up. But maybe that's just me. No? Okay, whatever. How do I get the rest of the way? Oh, it like only does one half at a time. Gotcha. Okay. So then I come over here.
Nearly there. Best keep my wits about me.
And then, okay. That works. Solar protection goggles. Gear slots are full. What do you mean? I have to actually, like, throw gear away, and that seems a bit inconvenient. That does provide one more defense, so okay. But I will quickly change the appearance, set that to empty, I guess. I don't know. So that seems rather inconvenient that I have to, like, just straight up throw certain things away from time to time. Cannot upgrade. Yeah, seems weird throwing out the traditional school robe, though. See, okay, some of these could be sold. Except that one. Okay, I have opened a slot, so whatever I was just about to try and pick up, maybe I can actually get now. Crimson Quidditch gloves. Not as good as what I have equipped.
Levioso. Accio. Protego.
Okay, Protego does not protect against that, I guess. Nope, moving away.
Stupefy. Stupefy. Levioso. Accio.
I was not close enough for Incendio. And, okay. Nope. Run away. Yeah. Oh, that was different. Maybe just because I was closer. Ouch. Okay. No, thank you. Ow. Okay. Healing again.
Protego! Stupefy! Levioso! Accio! Incendio!
Somehow that missed me.
Stupefy!
See, okay, like... You have one attacking me one way and the other a different way. Like, come on. Jeez. Had to use a lot of potions there. Just to keep going.
It is a book after all.
Seems like that might have been the final challenge, though. So what's it showing us here? Just gonna cast some magic to make it rain. I mean, all well and good. It seems like people needed it. Also, perhaps repairing a bunch of things that had been damaged. Alright, but why are we being shown this moment?
You wanted to see me? Headmistress Fitzgerald? Professor Rackham?
Miss Isadora Morganach, welcome.
Professor Rookwood? Professor McCaw?
We understand that you are adjusting well to life at Hogwarts.
I am.
I am glad. Especially in light of your unusual situation, starting as a 5th year.
Ah, another
As it happens,
person who started as a
I was
5th
also
year.
admitted to Hogwarts as a 5th year. I've never heard of another like us.
Miss Morganach, when we spoke yesterday after class, you asked about the beautiful swirls you saw years ago when we visited your hamlet.
I recognized you all immediately. I cannot thank you enough for what you did.
We were glad to help.
And yes, I did see swirls of magic everywhere that day. My father insists it was my imagination running wild, but it was certainly real to me.
It was not your imagination.
Percival, Professor Rackham can see them too. But we've never known of another who could.
I don't understand. What are they?
The whispers or traces that appear when a particular form of ancient magic is wielded.
Ancient magic?
Few are capable of wielding it. Hogwarts itself is a stronghold of ancient magic.
So if I can see traces of ancient magic, does that mean I can wield it too?
With the proper training.
But let us not get ahead of ourselves, Miss Morganach.
Before I can train you to wield such magic, you must first master all that Hogwarts has to offer.
A magic this powerful can do great harm in the wrong hands. It must be wielded by a select few. As such, we ask that you not speak to anyone about what we have discussed here today.
She didn't technically answer that. But, was that supposed to be a hint? I imagine it's something that's going on in the current time frame of the game.
Sebastian.
Sneaking in the restricted section again! I had thought we were through with this mischief. Clearly detentions are insufficient. I'm afraid I must take this to the headmaster.
But that being said, Peeves informs me that you didn't come alone tonight. If someone has coerced you, I would have you tell me. You're a bright boy. Don't waste this.
There was nobody else. I came alone.
Oh, Sebastian. What will your uncle say?
I'm like, just in case. So where do I go now? Turn to Professor Fig's classroom. Can I just go to my map and travel there by Floo Flame? That would be much more convenient. I would like to pick this section of the map, please. Track quest. Okay, but... Astronomy wing. Okay, there we go. Not exactly the most intuitive thing ever. Chime's classroom. Professor Fig's classroom. Yeah, that seems like a good spot to go. So, I gotta imagine he's gonna report what he found to Professor Fig. And then there's gonna be some kind of discussion on what all that means and the implications for the current situation. Begin quest here. Something gonna happen when I open the door? Yeah, okay.
You cannot be serious. Goblins working with Rookwood? Makes no sense.
It is rather unorthodox, to say the least.
Unorthodox? It's inconceivable. It's... Ah, Fig. You have a visitor. I'll see what I can find out.
Professor Sharp.
I was able to search the restricted section while you were with Professor Black. It was a book we were after.
Kind of.
What? That's... Wait. You accessed the restricted section? But how? Thinking on it, perhaps it's best you spare me the details.
Fair enough. In fact, the book was below the restricted section as it appeared on the map.
I want to hear everything. First, let's have a look.
So he did actually get the book.
Oh dear. Some of these pages seem to be missing. It appears someone has got to the book before us. Still, I will need time to study what remains. Perhaps we can still salvage something useful, though it may take some time. I wonder why it was here, below Hogwarts.
I think I know, sir. I saw 2 more memories where I found the book.
Another pensive. Godric's heart.
The man we saw before, Percival Rackham, was a professor here. The first memory showed him and 3 other professors using ancient magic to restore a hamlet from a drought.
Miriam was right. And the second memory?
They were talking to a student who started as a 5th year, like I did. She could see traces of magic too.
Why those memories? Perhaps this book will explain. Now I'll have to take it with me to London. The headmaster has insisted that I speak directly to the minister about George's death.
I mean, do I need to know what he's gonna tell them? That seems like I'm prying a bit more than necessary. I know for the lore, it would probably answer some stuff, though.
What will you tell them about Mr. Osric's death?
I don't know how much I dare say. George tried to convince the ministry about Ranrock, but to no avail. My instinct is to follow the path we are on for the moment and keep the details to ourselves until we know more.
I understand. I'll see what I can learn about the missing pages while you're gone.
Good. Don't neglect your studies. Your wand work is improving by the day. But you'll want to pay attention in herbology and potions. There's more to magic than spellcasting.
Plenty to keep me occupied while you're gone.
You've done exceptionally well. I look forward to seeing all that you've accomplished when I return. Oh, and don't neglect your friends. You may be surprised by how much you can learn from them as well.
Okay. I have uncollected rewards. It does kind of make me wonder about some things. Okay. Crossed wands round 3 seems to be ready. As well as spell combination practice 2. Herbology class is the main quest. Right now, though, it would seem that maybe, yeah. Completed. Hero appearance reward. Legendary cape. Claim. Okay, and now we're working towards that. Complete 6 side/relationship quests. Okay, that's how I advance this line. And these are assignments like what I did for the Charms Professor to get Reparo, I suppose. Okay, anyway. What do I want to do next? Actually, I'm kind of thinking right now I want to go to Hogsmeade and try and sell some things. There's that. Tomes and Scrolls. Most of what I have is clothing related. Seems logical to me to sell those at Gladrags. Flu Flame's currently unavailable. Dang it! Well then, never mind. Let me just check my gear real quick and see if what I got is any better than what I have. No, that one's a bit worse. Okay, it shows right there, gear 20 out of 20. It's odd that that's not on, like, the main gear screen here. But, oh well. Why was I thinking there was another new thing that I just got? Or it was something about a cape, wasn't it? Ah, whatever. Okay. Do I have anything tracked? Right? No, hang on. Okay. Gobstone. Yeah, whatever. New question. Oh, read mail. Hello.
Meet me in Lower Hogsfield as soon as possible. I would like to talk to you about Rookwood and Harlow, and it might be best to do so outside of the castle.
Professor Fig and Weasley have asked that I teach you an additional defensive spell. Please complete the assignments I have given you, and then proceed to see me in my classroom.
Natty just sent you an outpost requesting to meet her in Lower Hogsfield, a hamlet. Select the world map button to switch to the world map. Okay. Oh. Most of the map is covered by fog, limiting what you can see. Hamlets are small communities throughout the world. This is the hamlet, Lower Hogsfield. Hamlets provide new opportunities for vendors, flu flames, side quests, and collectibles. Okay. As you explore, you will remove fog and reveal more of the map, unveiling new opportunities like hamlets, dungeons, bandit camps, and many other locations. Okay. Seems there's now quite a bit available. So that is herbology class. Or okay, that's just each area. Trying to remember what the black flags resemble as opposed to the white ones. Huh. Gonna take quite a while to get there, but okay, I guess. I could at least use a flue flame to get closer to the exit of Hogwarts, right? In fact, maybe I'll just go to the north exit. Well, I did say before that I wanted to try and find things along the way sometimes. Ah. Yeah, so that's definitely how to open those chests, all right.
Off on another adventure, are we?
Shows a little dialogue bubble thing right there too, but maybe that's just maybe that's on a different floor. I don't know. Yeah. I do wonder if it's about time I should tell somebody else around here, at least kind of sort of what's going on. Or at least give a little bit more information.
All of my siblings have finished at Hogwarts.
Well, so far I'm not really seeing anything else along the way. Okay, I thought I saw a little highlighted dot thing there. You know, the kind that tells me I can interact with it. Perhaps this little hamlet we're going to might have some shops at which I could sell some of my gear that I am not currently using. That might be nice. You know, instead of having to just throw it away once I get something better. That looks like a flue flame. Yeah. Glad I activated that. Probably gonna stick mostly to the main road, though. Okay, those looked like flowers I could pick for a potion or something. Potentially. See, what is that over there? Like, it looks like something is highlighted here. But what do I do with it? Huh. Moonstone. Interesting. I'm sure that'll be useful for something. I'm not quite sure what yet. But probably some kind of potion or other thing that could be crafted. Sure is a bit of a hike to get where I'm going, jeez. Sure seems like I could have just... Yeah. Could have just gone from there. I'm just not entirely sure which flue flame that is, though. And or why it didn't have that selected. Oh well. Or, let me rephrase that. Why? It seemed like I couldn't select that portion of the map in order to get more detail and then see that there was a flue flame there that I might have been able to use. I see a question mark thing here. What's going on? Revelio?
Revelio.
Try it again. There we go. The groundskeeper's tools. One might surmise that this set of tools could be enchanted to create all sorts of furnishings for a cozy hut, as large as the occupant may need. Ooh, and there's a chest. Gear slots are full. Dang it. See, that's what I wanted to avoid, having to just go through all of my gear and just keep throwing things away, but that, I think, since it has no particular benefit and sells for very little, seems like the best candidate. Oh, Wiggenweld potion. Oh, so the potions take up gear slots too?
This looks intriguing.
This, what is this that we're saying looks intriguing? So there's like another kind of landmark that is directing me towards over this way. Horklump juice.
Levioso.
No.
Accio.
Oh, hang on. Is that what I was supposed to... now maybe Incendio?
Incendio.
Okay, I have just opened something, it seems. Yeah, this is very much me getting on some side tracks. Plum Sorcerer Hat. That seems to be all that's down here. Headwear. It's better defense than my current one. So, sure. Equip that. But also, don't make it look like that, please. Not exactly a big fan of how that looks. Oh, I could imagine there are all kinds of little things hidden like that around the map. Leech juice. What are you all doing? Oh. Flying kites. Okay.
It is good to see you, my friend.
And now I have a lower Hogsfield Flue Flame.
Hello, Natty. How are you? I hope you've recovered from our rather eventful trip to Hogsmeade.
I am well, but I have been worried about you, my friend. With Ranrock and Rookwood and Harlow after you?
I'm all right at the moment.
We did not speak about it at the time, but I am hoping now you might tell me why they were looking for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's really more so they're looking for a thing that they believe I have or have knowledge of. They're not necessarily looking for me, it seems.
They want something that Professor Fig and I found at Gringotts.
When were you at Gringotts?
Just before we came to Hogwarts. In fact, it's why I was late to the sorting ceremony. A portkey brought us there after the dragon attacked our carriage.
What on earth?
There's one more thing. It's a bit odd, if I'm honest. Professor Fig says I have a rare connection to a powerful form of ancient magic.
Is that the magic you used fighting the trolls in Hogsmeade?
I think so. I'm still learning, but I can see traces of it, and I've cast magic I can't otherwise explain. I know that's a lot to absorb.
It is. And I will have more questions. For now, it is safe to say that Rookwood and Harlow are a threat to both of us. To all of us. Which is why I wanted to speak to you. I realized something that day in Hogsmeade. You displayed such courage fighting that troll. And Serona wasn't intimidated one bit by Rookwood and Harlow. Both of you have inspired me to take a stand of my own.
What sort of stand?
Men like Rookwood and Harlow are the reason my mother and I left Matibili land. I am not going to sit by and watch them destroy my new home.
Sure.
Good. Rookwood and Harlow are a dangerous pair. And the fact that they're working with Ranrock, well...
All the more reason they must be stopped. Rumor has it that Theophilus Harlow runs Rookwood's day-to-day operations. Taking him down would cripple Rookwood's entire enterprise.
That may be true, but shouldn't Officer Singer handle someone like Harlow?
I spoke with her. She was polite, but perhaps understandably would not discuss details with a student. I overheard some of Rookwood's lot talking about a massive poaching operation that Harlow is planning. I was thinking that we could investigate a bit, try to get the evidence that Officer Singer needs.
All right, but how?
I am going to watch and listen, find out precisely what Harlow is up to. I shall reach out when I know more. In the meantime, remember, I am here if you need me.
Thank you, Natty.
Be on your guard.
Yeah. That's an understatement.
What's going on here?
Help the stranger. Okay. I mean... I suppose I don't see why not. Especially since it decided to immediately track this.
Come this way. Think.
I've no idea who it is you think I might have seen. I've been busy with my research. I do not have time to...
Victor Rookwood don't give a doxy's nip back your time. Oi! Speak of the devil, Mr. Rookwood would like a word with you.
A student? You can't be so...
Enough out of you.
Leave her alone.
Really? Why would you aim that at their feet?
Potato! Stupid one.
Stupid one, not to do that.
Accio!
There'll be more of that.
Leviosa!
Doggone it.
Way to get yourself...
Accio! Incendio!
I get so carried away with the spells that I'm casting that my defenses are a bit lacking sometimes.
Find me himself.
Well, the battle's over at least. Or is it?
I'll watch the light go out of your eyes.
The collection section of your field guide has been updated with a new enemy type. You may learn valuable insights on enemies, such as their weaknesses to certain spells.
Potato! We can help. I'm not going anywhere with you.
Okay, that was not blockable, it seems.
Stop that right now!
Don't think you're going to get out of this alive.
Accio! Incendio!
Hey! Ha! You're...
Come on, you're afraid to fight back.
Okay, we done battling now?
What on earth just happened? I've never been accosted in such a manner, and so close to Hogwarts.
And again, my gear slots being full is becoming a problem.
Are you alright?
I am, thanks in no small part to your excellent defensive skills. Care to tell me why two Ashwinders were ready to dispatch me to get to you?
Ashwinders?
Victor Rookwood's thieves and extortionists, his little cronies. They seemed quite keen on you.
It's a long story, but thank you for your help.
Well, you've avoided them for the moment. Priya warned me things were getting dangerous. Best get moving on my research before they return.
You mentioned someone named Priya.
Yes, my wife. She's the one who piqued my interest in Merlin. Gave me a book when we were students at Hogwarts. Typical hard-working Hufflepuff. Brilliant potioneer. Has her own shop in Nocturne Alley. She's a travelling vendor. Hears what's going on in the Highlands before I do.
You're a researcher?
Nora Treadwell at your service. Historian and archaeologist specializing in Merlin's work and life.
Okay.
Merlin? Of the legend of King Arthur?
The very same. Merlin attended Hogwarts, you know, and I'm studying some curious fixtures he left here centuries ago.
Fixtures?
These vine-covered pillars, dozens of them, all around the area. I've taken to calling them the Trials of Merlin. I believe he created them as a diversion for his fellow Slytherins. He was terribly fond of puzzles and didn't...
Merlin was a Slytherin. Okay.
I can see why you're so interested in Merlin. I'd be keen to know more about the trials.
Well then, I'll let you in on a little secret. No one has yet managed to figure out how they work. But I believe I have just unlocked a crucial clue. I suspect that Mallowsweet is an important component in getting the trials to work.
Mallowsweet?
Versatile herb. Merlin repeatedly mentioned it in his writings. I had just arrived to test my theory when I was so rudely interrupted. You see, each swirl in Merlin's writing has a symbol in the center. That started me thinking, what if...
The mallow sweet is meant to be placed at the center of the symbols.
Precisely. Would you care to do the honors? We can see what comes of our little hypothesis. I brought a trunk chock full of mallow sweet with me. It's just over there by my tent.
Get the mallow sweet from the trunk. Okay.
This trunk?
Yes, take plenty, even if you already have some.
I have the mallow sweet.
Lovely. Now, notice the vines on these pillars here, as well as a stone swell on the ground. Each trial has these features. Place the mallow sweet on the swell, and we'll see what happens.
I think this is the first time in the game we've actually been given permission to search a chest. Just saying. Okay.
My word! Did you see that? The vines disappeared.
What should I do now?
This is uncharted territory. I am curious about these pyres.
Perhaps, Incendio?
Incendio! The flames make the pyre sink.
And, trial complete. Simple enough, but it should be for the first one.
There, how beautiful! What a day! I can hardly believe it.
I take it we can call that a success?
We can indeed. However, I now have even more questions. How does it work? I must review my notes. I may have missed something.
Are all of the trials like this one?
Oh, not precisely. Well, I think each has those telltale vines and the swirl on the ground. You should feel free to solve them as you come across them. I believe I have what I need to continue my research. My guess is that each will also require mallow sweet, which you can find in Hogsmeade should you need more. I really must be off. Such a pleasure to meet you. And do be careful out here. Now, I've got what I needed. I shall return to the safety of my notes and books.
Okay. Quest complete. Trials of Merlin. Leveled up. Nice. Couldn't really read the whole thing that it mentioned about different challenges, but oh well. Not currently tracking anything. Okay, I just had a waypoint for Lower Hogsfield. I guess that doesn't count as tracking something. Alright. Are there any shops around here? That's a level 1 lock. Can't get in there yet. Certainly seems like a merchant, at least. Jalal Semi?
Hello, sir. What do you sell here?
Hello, I'm Jalal Semi, and this is my potion shop. I can answer any questions you have about the town.
Potion shop, eh?
Can you tell me a bit about yourself?
Oh, let's see. Well, I am Lower Hogsfield's preeminent potioneer. And I was once a lowly Hogwarts student like you. In fact, I'll give you the Hogwarts discount. It's the standard price. My prices are low enough already, you see.
Any whispers going about the town?
You may have noticed we have a bit of a rivalry with Upper Hogsfield. Not much to it, but we're still the better of the two Hogsfields. Better than most other places, too.
What do you have for sale?
Seems odd, but might I be able to sell some of my gear to you? Yeah, I'm not seeing the stuff that I have equipped.
I'll have no trouble selling this. Thank you.
Really, as a potioneer, you'll have no trouble selling this clothing. So I could buy a few ingredients here and there, or some straight up potions. And geez, the ingredients cost about as much as the potions themselves.
I hope to see you again sometime.
I would like at some point to try to
Ranrock's loyalists would go this far.
actually sell off the rest of what I have. But I don't necessarily need to record all of that. Okay, so I know earlier it seemed like I wasn't really gonna be able to go straight to Hogsmeade. I can't help but wonder why. Hogsmeade map. There we go. Okay. Did I just have to be in, like, the overworld map area to use those kinds of flu flames, maybe? Still not entirely sure how that works. Even a few hours in, there's definitely more things to learn / get used to for this. Now I do recall there being a chest that I had trouble opening before that I think I would now be able to. I just can't remember where in particular that it was. I think it was kind of along the boundary here, although perhaps closer to the there. Brood and Peck, Beast Supply Shop. Oh, right. Okay. Let me try setting a waypoint for there. If I... Nope, I can't. Okay. Oh. Yeah, it was this kind of chest. In fact, this might have even been the exact one. Okay, 500 galleons. Anyway, yeah, I might end up doing some side questing for a little while here, or maybe I'll start off the next recording with herbology class. I think that's what it has next in the quest line, right? Of course, I'm not necessarily going to see that from here. Yeah, herbology class, okay. Also, Professor Hecat has another assignment. Wants me to practice avoiding attacks by dodge rolling. That could be quite useful to have. Or I have the dodge rolling already, I just haven't been doing it. Because I don't remember what the button is for it, honestly. Okay. How does one dodge roll? Okay. Well, now that I've actually figured that out, I'll have to put it into practice sometime soon.
My father always taught me to keep my wand at the ready.
Anyway.
It was never the same after.
So yeah, next time I think I'll start off with herbology class. In between though, I think I'm gonna make sure my gear's all set, sell some that I don't need to free up some slots, and then yeah. We'll see what happens after all that. In the meantime, I've got plenty of options for things to do. The Daedalian Keys. Why do I not remember seeing that one? Ellie mentioned using a Daedalian key. Oh, that was right. That was a side quest I found a while back from talking to somebody in the courtyard. Anyway, I'm getting distracted, as I imagine will be very easy to do with this game. But anyway, that's all I'm going to record for now. Okay. Let me check my gear before I try and sell a bunch of it. Make sure I've got the best stuff. Oh, why is that one locked? Sleek dueling gloves, extraordinary. Huh. Well, I imagine I should keep those. I just don't know why I'm unable to use them. Alright. Augustus. I believe the gear that I have for sale will be more befitting the wares of such a shop as this, rather than the random potions vendor that I saw in what was it called? Lower Hogs something. Hogsfield? I don't know. Alright.
If I haven't said it before, it's a pleasure doing business with you.
Would be great if I could sell more than one thing at a time. See, this has a chance to be upgraded, but so does that, so Blue leather glove. Actually, a lot of this could be upgraded, jeez. I do wonder if I should double check whether what I currently have equipped is, you know, can be upgraded. See, like this, I could, let's see. So you see, these glasses are better than what I have. And that's the only pair available to buy. Only costs 200? Sure, yeah, why not?
You won't be disappointed.
Gloves are not quite as good as what I currently have. And both are tradable, so maybe I should enunciate that a bit more. Tradable. Whew, that is one heck of a robe. Although it costs 500 galleons, no wonder. Sanguine mask. Whimsical nightcap. No trace to be found from any of that as of the moment. See, okay. That is an 18-point difference in offense. As opposed to this only being 13 points. So, buy the runic robe.
You won't be disappointed. That's a Gladrag's promise.
Oh, that counts as other facial gear, doesn't it? Yeah. So I should have looked at this before purchasing the other thing of glasses that I did before. Oh well, at least I'll be able to sell those and get something back. In fact, could I sell them right now? I better get all that squared away first. Okay, so headgear. We got 26 and 20 as options. Suppose I'll take the 26. I already got a robe and headgear. As far as gloves are concerned, that's only 1 point better than what I currently have. I don't know if it's worth... I mean, it's only 200 galleons. Woof. Okay, that's a 19-point difference. That definitely seems like a good idea. And that's a 20-point difference. And there goes all of my money.
I suspect you have a sharp eye for
Alright, I'm
Be sure to stop by whenever you're about.
figuring I'll sort out all of my gear right now because I don't know how I don't know how motivated I will be to change that in between recording session streams and whatnot. Okay. Sure would be nice if there were some sort of like auto equip button option thing. Oh wait, no. That's... I wanted to just get into the appearance of it. To go back to that, yeah. Because I prefer the appearance of this, but... The actual stats on the other robe are better. Okay. Equip that. But make it look like this. Or that. I don't know if there's a ton of difference. Okay. Face wear. Yeah, you see, I accidentally bought both of these, and I only really needed to buy the one. Equip that, but, change the appearance for sure. No. It's not terrible. No. No. Also not terrible. Honestly, there's not a whole lot of difference between a bunch of the rounded ones. Silver-rimmed circular spectacles. Gold-rimmed. Which I guess would fit in with the Hufflepuff theme a bit more. Okay. We'll definitely equip that. But leave it looking like I am not wearing it. Alright, so one more time, Augustus. Okay, yeah. That's only a tiny bit better. Didn't feel like paying for that. I shall sell off all of this that I don't have equipped. Except for this. It seems like I might want to just keep that one. The only issue with it is I can't currently equip it. Okay. And then perhaps I shall get myself closer to the next quest that I'm going to engage with. And yeah, that'll take me over to the Hogwarts map. To, I guess, this section here. Yeah. And perhaps the library Flue Flame would be the closest one that I have unlocked so far. But otherwise, I think that's going to be all I have time for this morning. At least if I want to, you know, keep up with any other editing and things like that that I need to do. Although I will say I'm not in terrible shape with all that. I've got... I mean, next week's stuff is pretty much set already. The following week's stuff is mostly edited. It just needs to be uploaded. The only exception to that is the first recording of Hogwarts Legacy that I just did. And then, otherwise... Yeah, I guess there's also some, like, short videos and such that I need as well. Oh. Okay, defeat 10 Dark Wizards. I've defeated 5 so far. Solve 2 Merlin trials. Okay. Inventory expansion reward. Oh, jeez. That would be so helpful. Maybe I should look into that some more. Challenges, collections. Do I get any rewards for collections? I don't think so. I think it's just gonna show what I have unlocked within the collections. And that's gonna be different apparel, essentially. Wand handles. Yeah. So I think any... Okay, so Revelio pages show up here. But I'm hoping any gear that I unlock stays within the collection even after I sell it off. I mean, it seems like it's letting me still possibly use the appearance of those items, even if I'm not, you know, actually using the item itself and any bonuses attached to it. Oh, hey, Lucian. Time to prove your dueling mettle and see if we've a new school champion. Meet me at the usual place for the final round of crossed wands. Also, the training dummy is still available. Okay. Otherwise, I just have Leech Juice and Moonstone as new items in my inventory. I guess the Mallow Sweet Leaves as well, and the Horklump Juice. Okay. Now that I've thoroughly looked at all the menus and seen what all I have, still this section that I have yet to unlock. Anyway, okay. Let me make sure that I save. Yeah, that was from like almost a month ago. I don't feel like I need to take up all these empty save slots. 2 should suffice. Apparently I've been playing for about 5 hours. Alright. Exit to main menu. So yeah, that will officially do it for Hogwarts Legacy, and really for the whole stream today. Okay. So, to anyone watching, hope you enjoyed. This will be the usual week, or the usual day each week, for the most part. Next week should still be like this. The week after, though, I'm going to have to change the timing of my live stream, because I'll be away on a trip. So I think that'll actually be like on a Wednesday night then, because the trip is like Thursday through Sunday. The other option, I suppose, would be the Monday after 2 weeks from today. But yeah. So, schedule is pretty much going to be next week, final 2 chapters of the Book of Job, and then probably, actually almost undoubtedly, wrapping up things on Borderlands 4, because I really was just trying to finish unlocking Ultimate Vault Hunter mode, and beyond that, I think it'll all be side quests. After I finish that game, I am considering picking up the Assassin's Creed series again, maybe. Not 100% sure on that. Obviously, I'd be doing Assassin's Creed 2 since, I played the first one, and that's about it. I think after Assassin's Creed 3, then, it wouldn't have to be so much in a particular order. I am also considering maybe just doing some shorter games here and there, though. And maybe having some times without an M-rated game in the mix would be a good idea as well. I don't know. Anyway, there's all sorts of possibilities. But back to upcoming schedule. So, yeah. At least upcoming streaming schedule will be a week from today, roughly the same time. Final 2 chapters of the Book of Job, and then finishing Borderlands 4. If that happens in the first hour of the gaming portion, then I'll have to figure out something else to do with that. Otherwise, it'll be all Borderlands 4. And then, since 2 weeks from today is going to be, I'll be away. It's either going to be the Wednesday before that, which would be, let's see here, August 5th. It'll either be August 5th in the evening or August 10th, sometime during the day. I think I took that day off of work as well, just to sort of settle in, recover, air quote, recover from the trip, and basically do errands and stuff that I can't do while I'm away. But yeah. Whichever day it is, whether August 5th or 10th, that'll be the first 2, or the first section, I'll just say, of Psalms for the Bible study and then it'll be more Hogwarts Legacy for the gaming portion. So, anyway, that's the immediate upcoming schedule. Seeing as there's only one viewer at the moment, a raid seems maybe not the most practical thing to do. I don't want to feel like I'm just, you know, trying to get attention from people. In fact, I know for a fact some people like specifically have, you know, viewer minimums set because of that kind of thing. So yeah. With that in mind, I don't think I'll raid out today. I'll just call it a wrap at that. So, thanks again for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Hopefully I'll see you soon for another stream. I will try to update social media pages with details on when the stream roughly 2 weeks from now will be. Whatever I end up deciding on that. And otherwise, of course, feel free to check out edited or archived content if you miss a stream and want to see what it was like. I know Twitch will keep that for 2 weeks. YouTube indefinitely, it seems. So, yeah. Either that kind of stuff or edited versions if you just want the little bits in, you know, concentrated bits here and there rather than the whole stream. Anyway, I digress. So, I hope you're all doing well. Hopefully I'll see you soon for some other live stream or whatever bit of content it might happen to be. But whatever ends up being the case, till next time, stay cool, everybody.